Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to do a walkthrough of the invoice subprocess. And as we can see, we are on the provider dashboard, and this process comes right after marking a given INET request as work completed. So at this point, our focus is going to be on the INET request ending in 00036, currently in work completed status. And as we can see, there are a few actions that can be taken as the provider. If we click on the View Details dropdown, similar to prior sub-processes, we're able to see three options: view the INET request, view the accepted quote, and then view the purchase order created by the requester. One novel feature and capability that we're able to take on when the INET request is in this status is the Create Invoice. And so if we click on that button, we're presented with a form with two mandatory fields: invoice number and invoice amount. This is for submitting an invoice request for the requester to pay. So let me go ahead and add an invoice amount, fill out the additional fields, and add an invoice document if I want to. Now, after inputting all the information I want in this field, I can go ahead and click on the Submit button. We'll see a few things happen now. For this INET request, the status has been updated to invoice created. Second, we're able to still see the Create Invoice button. This is to allow for several invoices to be created for an INET request, should it be needed. So if I click on that button again, we're able to see the same form appear, allowing us to make the inputs necessary. The other button of note is the View Invoices button. So if we click that, we're able to see a pop-up appear with a table that includes information such as the invoice number, invoice date, invoice amount, status, and invoice. I would like to specifically have you take a glance at the status and invoice fields. The status we can see is unpaid, and that will change just in a second as we're addressing the invoice paid flow. And then under the invoice column, there is a preview button. By clicking on that preview button, we're able to view the invoice that was uploaded as part of the invoice submission request. And at this point, the provider and requester would be connecting outside the system, and the requester would be using a third party to pay the invoice amount. When the provider, which is us in this case, would receive that payment amount, we could come right back to this view and click on the Mark All Invoices Paid button. Let's go ahead and do that and see what happens. For this invoice request, what we see is the status is updated to invoice paid, and we have only one action item here, which is View Invoices. If we click on that button, we can see a couple of changes. One being the status has been updated for this record as paid. Second, there's an additional column for invoice paid date, which provides the date for when we marked the invoices as paid. And we're able to still see that invoice document if we click on the preview button for that given row. And that marks the end of this invoice process. Next, we'll be switching to the requester for a final verification that the installation was successful and they were successfully able to connect to INET. So till next time, thank you everyone.